In this program, I'm going to demonstrate a range-based for loop. This was a newer loop that was introduced in C++ version 11. So we have seen that we can use loops to process arrays. And here's just, a regular simple for loop. So let's review what this is going to do. Here's an array called numbers. There's 5 elements in it. And here's the values that are stored in the array, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is just a regular for loop that goes through all 5 elements, right? Starts at index 0, continues while it's less than 5, and it'll just output the values in the array. So I'm going to run this. You can see what it does. Okay, now all I'm going to do is, instead of using a standard for loop, I'm going to use a range-based for loop to do the same thing. Oops. Let me just get rid of this, sorry. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment out this for loop, and instead I'm going to output everything with a range-based for loop. So this looks a little bit different. If it's an array of integers, you want to specify this variable to be an integer, and this is going to kind of a variable or an iterator that iterates through the loop, or just that basically means steps through the loop one element at a time. So this is going to step through this array one element at a time, and as it goes through, it's going to display the contents of the array. So this will do the same exact thing as the first for loop that we saw. Okay. Now this is just a for loop that's displaying. If we wanted to use a range-based for loop to change the contents of the array, this is going to look a little bit different. We have to use an ampersand here, right? We've seen the use of the ampersand before with reference parameters. It just means that you're actually working with that memory location, and this allows you to change it just like reference parameters. So let's do something to change it. I'll just take every element and multiply it by 10. So when I'm all done, it should be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 now. So let's see. And it is. Okay. So you could use standard for loops, or you can use range-based for loops when you're writing your code. The decision is up to you. Since the range-based for loops are a little bit newer, you don't always see them all the time in a lot of legacy code that exists already, but you certainly can use them. As I said, the decision is up to you. But here's just an example of where you're just like displaying or doing something that doesn't update the array elements. You have to put your ampersand in between if you're going to change it. Because just one more thing, like if I don't have the ampersand here, right, you'll see that it executes the code, but it doesn't save that. So that's what putting the ampersand does. And you can also use an auto keyword here instead of specifying a data type, but I'm not a huge fan of that, so I'm just going to leave a data type there.